your home for real news, real opinions, and what really matters about Tennessee athletics. Always available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, iHeart. Like, share, follow, subscribe. Always available wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Loaded up on the program today. A couple of clips from Cooper Mays and Jacob Warren looking back on the LSU game. Then we'll put a bow on that one. Looking forward to Tennessee, Alabama. ESPN social media mayhem ensues. We'll get into that. It's crazy. And also address a lot of the things that we were going to get to yesterday, but you had the Jalen Mccola arrest. So that kind of hijacked the show. But at least we didn't get punched in the mouth. She's Amanda LaFrada. I'm Dave Hooker. Good morning, Amanda. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm well. So there's this ESPN controversy that they apparently took down all of their social media tweets that they were going to be in Knoxville this weekend. So I don't know if you saw this, but everybody panicked. Brittany saying, by the way, Brittany is just incredible, and I'm going to tell you why later in the show. Brittany says people were freaking out about that. Looks like it was just a copyright issue with the music. So apparently they did. And unfortunately, Amanda and I know a little bit more about copyrighted music than we originally ever dreamed of wanting to. And that's why you'll hear this from time to time.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Why? Because you can play clips. So you'll hear that this is. It's not the actual Zeppelin song. So we've learned a lot about copyright issues, and apparently Kirk Herbstreit has as well. So with copyright issues,
or somebody from ESPN did.
Yeah. So all of those tweets had to be taken down. So it's apparently a copyright issue. You can read more about it on offthehooksports.com. So everybody's still coming. Everything's cool. Everything's kosher. The balls are going to show up, and so is ESPN, and so is SEC Nation. So only the fourth time in a regular season game that both will be there. And at a regular season game, ESPN Nation and College Gameday will be there. So they usually split those things up. So, Amanda, I want to go back to a conversation we had. You said that the Big Ten was better off in their TV deal with Fox and CBS. I think you're seeing the ESPN machine, and you and I have discussed privately issues with their politics. I had issues with them as an employer, but they still carry an awful lot of weight. I don't see social media being a buzz about where Fox Sports is going to be, but I'm not in those Big Ten circles, so maybe I'm wrong.
I think it's not really where Fox is going to be or whoever's going to be. It's what's the best game. I mean, really, what's the best game? And hands down, this is the best game. I know we have Ohio State and Penn State, but really that is just waiting for the shoe to drop on CJ Stroud's Heisman campaign. Let's be honest here. That's what we're all tuned in to watch. Do I think Penn State's going to upset Ohio State? No, I don't think anyone really feels that way. But I do feel like we're going to watch CJ Stroud go meh in the Heisman race because he's actually playing someone.
So I mean, we'll see. Right now, he's like has a 60% chance of winning the Heisman, which seems insano to me. So like, subscribe, and share, comment below, and more people can become aware of what we do every weekday at 8:30. Brittany said someone on their social media team probably got an earful at ESPN. Yes, I would imagine that was the case.
An intern.
And even Tennessee has responded and really they not only deleted all the tweets, but they kind of just went dark. So for a few hours, everybody's wondering, has something happened? And so Kirk Herbstreit took it to himself to tweet out that, hey, we will be there. ESPN College Gameday will be there. So everything's fine. But I mean, I don't know why ESPN didn't delete the tweets and then tweet something else out that didn't have copyright issues. Like I can't figure that out. But
Do it at 2:00 in the morning.
That's a good point. I don't know what the copyright issues are, but you would think ESPN would have that figured out. There's probably somebody making well into the 6 digits that's in charge of things like that, and you really don't want to mess that up. I don't know. Maybe they let an intern do it. There is that period where you give an intern a little bit more room to grow and a little bit more responsibility. It doesn't always go well. I had one intern that I took with me to Bristol Motor Speedway, and I was covering the race there for the News Sentinel. And I said, I'll be there around 10. There was no hard set time, and it was the Friday before when they're doing the practice. And so I sent him up there, and I said, hey, you can go ahead and get a feel for the place, but I'll be there around 10 or 10:30. So he got there at 9:45 because he's a go-getter. You would know who he is. And he texted me. He said, hey, are you almost here? And I said, yeah, I'm about there. Why? What's up? And he goes, this is insane. I almost just peed down my pants. So maybe if you've been in the infield of Bristol
all the time.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty insane. I mean, if you haven't been, I mean, there's zero room. You almost get hit by a car going 35 miles an hour pretty much every 5 minutes. So if you don't know where to go, he was, let's just say, very, very nervous and scared and openly honest about the fact that he was in over his head. So I was like, dude, I'll be right there. And so maybe this ESPN social media guy, maybe he got a little much and it was a little too much. So let's get to the down and dirty at 30. It's brought to you by Honeybee Coffee. Why 30? Because we start each and every show weekdays at 8:30 Eastern time. So wherever you're listening, we love for you to take part live. But if you're listening and recorded, that's where we are. So set your clock and your reminders because we love visiting with you. And the down and dirty at 30 is brought to you by Honeybee Coffee. Tell me about Honeybee Coffee, Amanda. It's just darn good. How simple is that?
I mean, it is really good coffee. But it's made with the top 5% of beans in the world, not even like just the nation, in the world. So it says a lot to what they're doing at Honeybee, especially, when you can't get good products or you can't get homemade stuff or, you can't get anything local. Honeybee is the place to go for coffee. Just hands down.
It is absolutely fantastic. I love it. We will have a Try It Again Tuesday as well coming up, and I've already got mine selected. Tennessee coach Josh Heupel addressed 2 absences right after we went off the air yesterday that occurred during the LSU game during his weekly press conference on Monday. Talking about Gerald Mincey, just said he wasn't available. Now, that opened the door kind of, I don't think he meant to say it like this. I don't think he wanted to say it was a left shoulder, right knee, or whatever. I think he just wanted to say he wasn't available. And he was a little bit, I thought, maybe vague on purpose. I think it was vague just to cover up what injury, what ailment that Mincey might have. Because I was told by a Tennessee representative that it was injury related. But the way he said it made me wonder a little bit, to be honest with you, if perhaps there was some sort of suspension at hand. So I don't think that's the case. So that looks like an injury. And I thought that the entire press conference was a little bit more tense. And I'm sure part of that was the Jalen Mccola arrest on Sunday. But he also, I think, is a little stressed maybe about Alabama. And Caleb and I theorized that maybe he didn't have the greatest practice. I mean, that is still a thing. That still affects how coaches are and how they react after practice. So Tennessee would like to have Cedric Tillman back for the Alabama game. Preseason All-SEC second-team receiver. He was very open, Josh Heupel was, about that was the goal. That's why they did the tightrope surgery. Was not to get him back for LSU, man. It was to get him back for, the Alabama game. And ultimately, it's going to, in this day and age of people skipping bowl games and all that stuff to look out for themselves, Tillman did tweet over the weekend. He loves his team. So I think Tillman's going to do everything he can to come back. It will be right at a month. And we saw Tua Tagovailoa come back from the tightrope surgery. If you made me bet a mortgage payment today, Amanda, I say that he plays.
I would say that he plays too. And I think it's going to be a big upside for Tennessee because as we said, Alabama does play the bend don't break type defense. So they, for the most part, unless you turn the ball over 4 times, they keep you out of the end zone throwing. Like you don't throw, wide receivers don't catch touchdowns. It's mainly, running, especially in the first 4 games. They held wide receivers to 0 touchdowns. So with that being said, this is might be the actual adding Cedric Tillman might be the way that Alabama stops bending and just breaks because you have Brew McCoy, Jalen Hyatt, you have Cedric Tillman. This is going to be the best wide receiving group that Alabama's seen this year, hands down.
And with this group in particular, you talk about the bend but don't break. So the idea is not to break in the red zone. These are big receivers. Not to say Alabama's small, but at the 5, you can throw jump balls to these guys. These aren't like little dudes that are scurry around and make long plays and then stall in the red zone. So I don't think that's going to happen. So some more news from yesterday. I lost my screen. All right. So Tennessee's football team is just I just think they're in a bad spot with their secondary. It's not to say they can't overcome it, but you have the Jalen Mccola arrest already, the Warren Burrell out for the season. I think this is going to have to be a really, really aggressive defense up front, and you saw a lot of that against LSU, so it's very doable. But if they're not able to do that, Amanda, then I don't see Tennessee's secondary suddenly going from below average to even above average or good. I think they're going to have to get pretty fortunate there up front, making some things happen, pressuring whoever the quarterback might be for Alabama. I did get a little bit of a tip that the sense is at Alabama that Bryce Young will play on Saturday. That's not reporting anything. I don't know. But I'm just telling you that somebody told me close to Alabama, they get the sense that he will play on Saturday. The sense. But Amanda, you were actually at the A&M game. He was announced as a starter, right?
Yes.
Was he announced over the PA? I don't know what they did in the press box, but was he announced?
Yeah. I actually have the video from it. And because I took a video of people just going nuts when he was announced because as every school does, they do the starting on our defensive starters, and they give you their position, they give you their name and the picture, and they do the little whatever pose. Well, they did all of that, and then they went to the offensive side and they waited until the very last person, and they announced Bryce Young as the starter. And I know I went to Twitter and said, apparently Bryce Young is playing. He is announced in the starting lineup, and just caught all kinds of, from people. But it was announced. I was literally in the stadium. I took a video of it. They announced that Bryce Young was starting the game. So
I guess that's some gamesmanship. Chris saying is Dave or Hendon the better hooker? Well, Hendon's more expensive. Like, subscribe, and share. I can tell you that.
He's like the high class escort. You're kind of like the find you on the street kind of person.
Yeah, I'm the one just standing there. So I actually, though, it's I'm not going to get into the story. One time after the gym, I was trying to be nice on a very cold morning at like 10 a.m. and accidentally picked up a lady of the night to give her a ride because it was cold. But that's a whole nother story for another day.
Yeah.
It was funny how anyway. So as far as some other down and dirty at 30, some news of the day. Let's get to this. So because I lost my spot again. Why is my computer acting bizarro? Apologize for that. Okay, so Tennessee remains a touchdown plus underdog to Alabama despite both teams' depth chart issues. So we've seen a lot of movement in lines. Amanda, you're more of the gambling expert than me. So when you look at this, is this just the betting public knows Tennessee and Alabama better? Because the line actually moved. Well, at one point, LSU was favored in the summer, if you go way back. And we talked to Cooper Mays about that, how he didn't think it would be that big of an upset. But then on Sunday morning, the week before the LSU game, Tennessee was a 4.5-point favorite, and that moved to 2.5. So the 7.5 is pretty much stuck from the get. Does that mean that we just know these teams better?
Actually, it was at the beginning of the season, and I know I told you this because I was really shocked that Alabama was favored by less than Georgia was favored over Tennessee. So Georgia was a 17.5-point favorite going into the season. Alabama was 14.5 going into the season. So the line significantly dropped thanks to Tennessee and how they've been playing. Now, it didn't drop, but I think it dropped before, right after the LSU game or before or something like that, depending on how Tennessee was playing. So it's now 7.5 with Alabama favored, which means it's essentially 10 because you have to give 3 points to the home team. So that would make Alabama favored 10 pretty much. I don't see Alabama doing that. And I know people don't flip out because every time I say take Alabama or don't take Alabama, it's wrong. It's 100% wrong. But I don't see Alabama, especially if Bryce Young doesn't play. That's going to be the key. If Bryce Young is not able to go on Saturday for Alabama, you don't have to worry about your secondary. You don't have to worry about it at all because Jalen Milroe cannot throw the ball. He can't do it. He can't hit wide receivers wide open. He can't do it.
It would be bizarre. It would be bizarre in Tennessee's first 3 games if they faced 3 quarterbacks. Now, they allowed Anthony Richardson to look good, but 3 quarterbacks that are limited from an arm standpoint. That would be absolutely bizarre if that were the case. So get more of your thoughts on the message board. Congratulations to a couple of Tennessee football players that won weekly awards. The SEC Special Teams Player of the Week was Chase McGrath, Tennessee's kicker, 4 of 5 field goals. The only one he missed was a 50-yarder, which is certainly understandable. And then you had Byron Young, no surprise, as SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week by the league office. And, to be quite frank with you, I thought he would be the overall defensive player of the week. So that surprises me just a little bit that he wasn't the player of the week. But ultimately, I think people are aware of Tennessee. You talked about the lines have moved since the preseason. They're not going to sneak up on anybody anymore. Those days are over, and that's a good thing. Now that doesn't affect you against Alabama because, Alabama knows Tennessee and Tennessee knows Alabama. But, there's probably going to be a game in the next year or two that Tennessee shows up and doesn't play their best game against a lesser opponent and has to struggle a little bit. That happens with a better team because people are going to get up to play Tennessee. But that's good news to me. That's not anything bad. So kudos to the Vols. And one other thing I want to say about Hendon Hooker that we didn't get to bring up. Did you notice the Condridge Holloway shirt that he was wearing yesterday, or he was wearing immediately after the game against LSU?
Yes, I did. Very, very good. Very noble, I guess. I don't know how I say that, but I found that to be very tasteful, and that was very sweet, if I can say sweet.
Sweet, it works.
Yeah.
I thought it was super cool. I'll just go with that. And Tennessee, as Byron Young was beaten out by Jaden Hill as the defensive player of the week overall. Jaden Hill recorded 2 interceptions, including a 49-yard interception return for a touchdown in the first quarter and an interception to halt Missouri's drive deep in Florida territory. So they were Hill's first career interceptions and first career touchdown. Now, I would argue
Missouri.
I would argue that given the game, 2.5 sacks, what Byron Young did was more impressive. But when you start to get into this, the first Florida player with 2 interceptions and a pick six in the same game since 2018, you get, these first career interceptions, first career touchdown. They want to give a guy some love. And Byron Young has already won the SEC Player of the Week. So that's why they expanded it to have the defensive lineman of the week, the freshman of the week, the offensive lineman of the week, and on and on and on. So that's why they did that. Everybody's favorite, Will Rogers, who has been a topic of conversation on this program because Chris Landry said he thought Will Rogers was a better overall thrower, threw for 395 yards and 31 completions. So he's a heck of a player. I mean, I know people get sensitive about the whole concept of somebody being better than Hendon Hooker because he's your guy. But look at it this way. Look at it from a totally different perspective. And this video is on our YouTube channel, a breakdown. Brittany says the shirt was awesome about Condridge. I agree. Look at the breakdown of Nico Iamaleava that is on our YouTube channel that Chris Landry and I did Friday. And Hendon Hooker is doing a fantastic job, but schematically, this Tennessee offense gets people open. It does. Okay. So what if a couple of those errant throws are on the money? What if a couple of those, I think there was one to Princeton Fant that was on his back left shoulder on a slant pass. What if that's out in front of him? That to me is completely different. And that's what I believe Nico is going to be able to offer. He's just a little bit more accurate, a little bit better at feathering the ball. And I think Tennessee's in great shape, but I think their offense can be significantly better. So when they get a guy who's a slightly better thrower, and it sounds like I'm ripping Hendon Hooker, Amanda, I'm not.
No, not at all.
He throws the best deep ball, in my opinion, in college football. He's a great runner. His accuracy at times struggles in the intermediate stuff. Nobody's perfect.
No, everybody has something. I mean, you can look at, I'll just give Bryce Young from Alabama as a Heisman Trophy winner. He's a Heisman Trophy winner, and he won't run. I mean, he's running a little bit more, this season, but then we see him get, tackled and sprain his shoulder and all that stuff. But I mean, that's what you can say about Bryce Young is that he's not very good at scrambling, getting away from, the defense. If he has to throw, if he doesn't see somebody open and the offensive line doesn't hold him back, he's done for. So, that's your Heisman Trophy winner. So everybody has something that is not the best. It's just how it goes.
Last year when he won the Heisman Trophy and I voted for him, I thought that there were times that he should have just run, that he should have just taken off where he held on to the ball too long. And you'll rarely hear me say that because you want to keep your eyes downfield. Kevin the Bacon said, I will say if Hendon Hooker was quarterback at Alabama, he's probably a Heisman front runner. I'll double down on that, Kevin. I'll say if he's at Ohio State or Alabama, he's the Heisman front runner.
If I was at Ohio State, I would be the Heisman frontrunner. Literally, all you have to do is just air it out and let one of your giant wide receivers go out there and catch the ball. Ohio, that's what I cannot stand about this whole CJ Stroud's the best thing ever. We see this all the time with Ohio State quarterbacks. Every single year. Oh, he's so good. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. They get into the NFL and they fall flat on their face because they're not that good. They just have really good receivers and they play against really crap teams. So I'm sorry. That's just really how it goes. I don't understand all the hype around, CJ Stroud is, the next best thing since I don't know who. No, it's put somebody else, put their, and I don't wish anybody to get hurt, but maybe he has the flu one day. Put their backup quarterback in there, you're going to see the same thing. Exactly the same thing. That's what drives me nuts about this whole thing. Sorry, I'm done.
Sure.
Rant over.
So I talked to Cooper and think about today's tough question and what direction you want to go because I'm wide open. And I talked to Cooper Mays, bringing this from our YouTube channel, and I asked Cooper Mays way back in July about being picked as an upset special, a potential upset special at LSU. And I still remember the look on Cooper's face. He kind of goes, huh? Like, that's an upset? Did you see them last year? And Tennessee ended up being the favorite. But at the time, man, I want to say they were 6.5-point underdogs going to LSU. Now that's in July. Is that number sound about right to you?
It was something along those. I think it was like 4.5.
It was more than a field goal. I remember that. It may have been 4.5. So we start with this, and then we get into how the game began, and that was the opening kickoff return that LSU, of course, fumbled. Muffed is technically the issue, the term you should use. But Cooper, he's just gold. He's so funny. And I worked with his dad back in the day. This is how old I am. His dad was the same way, just matter of fact, funny. So Cooper has gone through a couple of rebuilds with Josh Heupel, with Jeremy Pruitt. So he knows what that's like. And to go out there in a big game, he's seen bad things happen and really change the tenor of a game that Tennessee was trying to get things turned around. And so here's Cooper. First, I asked him about being an underdog and then what it was like for LSU to fumble the opening kickoff. And it's brought to you, of course, by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Well, that's awesome. You were. So, and then you've been a part of, what, 2 rebuilds under Josh Heupel and a guy that we'll just talk about some other time. So I'm curious, Brian Kelly's there, and I think Brian Kelly's a really good coach, but there's oftentimes a culture change that has to happen. So when you go out there in a big game and you fumble the opening kickoff and maybe your psyche's a little bit fragile already, how do you think that affects the team?
Oh, man, I mean, that really does suck. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this really does suck.
That really does suck. Like, oh,
What
an intuitive response.
That was my favorite headline. So I asked Jacob Warren about the same play. And if he could, notice I used the word empathize, not sympathize, but if he could empathize with which the difference is you feel sorry and sympathize. Empathize, you understand the emotions.
Well, you should sympathize with LSU this past week. Everyone should sympathize.
He didn't feel sorry for them, but I asked him about that start. He's been through those sorts of things before. Here's Jacob Warren, brought to you by Vassy Lawn and Garden. A team that is in a rebuilding mode, in a transition period. Goodness knows you've been there twice. And
right.
So when that happens, I mean, I'm sure you can empathize. That's got to be a gut punch to their psyche.
Yeah, really unfortunate for them. I hate it for them. I really do.
I said empathize, not sympathize.
Not sympathize. There you go. Yeah. No, it's it was obviously unfortunate for them. You know, we're trying to go deep right, and the wind kind of catches that ball and just kind of hangs it up in the air for too long, and the kid ends up muffing it. And shout out Will Brooks. He's one of my good friends, and made a play on the ball, did a good job keeping his legs and his knees in bounds and recovered it. And that's the most exciting thing, right? Because they won the coin toss. They decided to take the ball. So it's like, all right, defense got to go out and get a stop, whatever. And you're immediately able to steal a possession, right? That's what it is. Like, you stole a possession. They did not get their first one. We're essentially starting the game with the ball, and we get the ball at halftime. That's kind of what goes through your head. So on the offensive side, you're sitting on the bench like, all right, let's go defense. Like, let's start this game off, whatever. And then, like, it's all exciting. Everybody gets up and starts running down the field, and they're like, all right, everybody calm down. Let's go actually score, right? We got the ball on the 30-yard line. We actually have to go put it in. So, plays like that are crazy. And sure, yeah, very unfortunate for LSU, for that kid.
That's too bad. It is funny to me that Jacob laughed at me about the question. I think that is funny because that's what you don't get out of press conferences nowadays, because you don't have the opportunity for any interaction, and they're so stiff and nervous. They're speaking in front of a bunch of 40-year-old dudes. And he just laughed at me. You know, when I asked that question, he just He just laughed at me and I don't know. I thought that was rather fun.
I liked how he just kept calling him that kid. He was like, "Oh, I felt bad for that kid." I'm like, "You're like the same age."
Andy Mason, but Jacob's getting up there. I mean, Hendon Hooker, the second oldest player in the SEC, starting quarterback in the nation, I believe, other than Stetson Bennett. I mean, some of these guys, because of the COVID year, are like 38 years old. Andy Mason is my realtor. He should be yours. The Andy Mason Group is a team of passionate, knowledgeable real estate agents with elite realty, over 38 years combined experience in the industry. I made the mistake of not going with Andy Mason one time because I didn't know he was in real estate. I will never make that mistake again. The tenets are quite simple of his business, and that is the best prices, the best service. How about that? Andy Mason Real Estate.com. Your comments, Caleb Calhoun, coming up next. Give me 2 minutes. I'll give you the world off the hook sports.
Gary Viles here. I want to personally invite you to North Knoxville's newest sports bar and restaurant. It's Big Orange Phillies, located in Black Oak Center. And yes, folks, it's happening in Halls. Big Orange Phillies offers family-friendly environment with homemade meals and the best deli-style subs around. Billiards, darts, jukebox, shuffleboard, and cornhole, and a full bar. We also offer valet parking on weekends and during special events. We even have a covered back patio. It's happening at Big Orange Phillies. We want, we need, and we appreciate your business.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
This is Al's Nest Barbecue Supply, so come on in and see all the different rubs and sauces we have, plus a complete line of Green Mountain grills. Don't be overwhelmed. We have plenty of help so you can produce the best barbecue and amaze your family and friends. Barbecue is America's food. We'll do what we can to bring you all the best products. We're Al's Nest Barbecue, where Chattanooga goes to grill.
Do you want to own the more that owns every job? Then get to Vassey Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassey, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Vassey's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Vassey Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
We do our research. Have you done your research?
We're working like heck.
Today's tough question. What's the real debate?
You sipping my Soupe Guadalupe?
Exclusively on Off the Hook Sports with Dave Hooker and Amanda LaFrada.
You drinking my sake, Kimosabi?
Oh my God.
She is Amanda LaFrada. I'm Dave Hooker. Yeah, this press conferences, thank you very much. Brittany said he and Jake Warren are just so awesome. Crazy saying I love those dudes. Crazy saying great interviews. If you haven't seen the whole thing, go check them out. Thank you very much. I mean, honestly, that's why I got back into this biz because, listen, those press conferences, if anything ever comes out of those, I'll be sure to let you know, but don't expect a lot. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not knocking it, but Josh Heupel literally talks for 9 minutes and 30 seconds. It's almost like it's timed out exactly where there's going to be somebody with a big hook. You remember the hook they used to do like on Broadway to pull people off? Like, Get out of here, Josh. You can't be doing this stuff and talking about things that people want to hear about. What the H?
It's just fluff. And it's not just Josh Heupel. It's every coach except for Nick Saban. It's his isn't fluff. His is just like a rant that casually goes up and then falls. And that's it. But Josh Heupel and every other coach, it's just, we're going to tell you basically nothing with a lot of words.
It is so funny you brought that up because I watched the Nick Saban show last night and he broke down the final decisive play to a T. What every player's responsibility was in the Texas A&M game. Drew it up right there in video. said, "Oh, this guy's not worried about this because the inside inside backer has leverage," and completely broke it down. No other coach in America would have the confidence to do that. They would want to keep everything hidden, and that's fine. But he just who else would?
Jimbo, no, I'm not saying anybody else would. But I mean, that's going to get to our try it again. And Jimbo Fisher gave away his play at the end of the game. So
let's bring Caleb Calhoun in here, and his appearance brought to you today by Nutrition World. Nutrition World is where you need to go to get your supplements. They are absolutely phenomenal. We want you to go to Nutrition World and know that they're one of the best e-commerce supplement stores in the entire world, if not the best. So you'll get the best prices and you'll get supplements. I take supplements, so I want to make sure that they're quality, and I don't want to have to worry about that. Sorry, there's some big stores out there that they got all kinds of stuff, and they'll just tell you to buy what they have the biggest profit margins on. That's just a fact. So go to Nutrition World for all of your supplement needs. Caleb Calhoun, how are you, sir?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing this Tuesday morning?
Good. We're good. You have exactly 5 seconds to tell me why Tennessee's defensive backs will be stellar on Saturday.
How about they won't be?
That does it. Good to have you on, Caleb. So I don't see stellar out of this group. I think the best that you're probably hoping for is what? B-, but it's ultimately, and Caleb wrote about this, I think it's going to be on Tennessee's defensive front to bring some pressure and be able to offset a secondary that was woeful to begin and has lost a couple of players now in Burrell and Mccola.
Yeah, it's in trouble now. I've talked about this in the past, but Warren Burrell and Jalen Mccola they're not going to win any All-American awards, but they were both, I would say, just relatively mediocre as the top cornerback and the strong safety, but mediocre is better than what it could be. I mean, I think a lot of people forget where Tennessee is right now. This was right after they beat Florida about 3 weeks ago. I listened to you with John Adams on, and John Adams was actually very much defending them even after that collapse. And what did people expect out of Tennessee this year? They still have massive deficiencies, which is a testament to Josh Heupel for them still being 5-0, and I think a testament to Tim Banks. And I've been driving this train for a while. I think Tim Banks is one of the most underrated defensive coordinators in football.
Agreed.
Because we talk all the time about defensive coordinators never work out as head coaches. Well, maybe because defensive coordinators who get hired on their resume are getting hired because they, on average in a year, held teams to this few points. But that's not the best way to measure defenses right now. Tim Banks is working in a system that's all offense, all focused on offense and tempo. And then on top of that, there's some massive deficiencies, mostly in the secondary, not to mention the fact that the linebackers are really, really bad in coverage, which I keep talking about. And so I don't know. I think Tennessee's secondary went from having a couple of being below average with some mediocre players to below average with players who are worse than those mediocre players back there. So
the X factor would be D. Williams. But
right.
That's, we don't know. That's the unknown. So we'll see what he's able to do. By the way, John's appearance on our YouTube channel is brought to you by Big Orange Phillies. Big Orange Phillies, great place in North Knoxville to hang out and have some just fantastic food, family-friendly environment, and you'll love it there, whether you're Maynardville, North Knoxville, Powell, wherever the case may be. So I want Amanda to jump in there, but John's appearance also brought to you by our friends at Biles Automotive Group there on Callahan Drive. Biles Automotive Group, it's about integrity. They want, they need, they appreciate your business. And Amanda, I had heard that John Adams started hitting the booze. I don't know if that's the case or not.
Hitting the booze?
Yeah, just to the little Jack Daniels before he does our show. I don't know if that's the case, but
that's terrible. No, he doesn't. He's like the most straight-laced guy I've ever seen in my life. He doesn't hit the Jack Daniels.
If you guys know the history of Elvis, sometimes inebriation makes you a better performer.
That is, yeah, that's not in our profession though. But I will say that there were days where a beer or two would make the writing go a little freer after a long day of covering practice. But they're a lot like throwing darts at Big Orange Phillies. You have that 2 to 4 beer area where you're maybe more creative, and then the precipice, it just drops off, and then you're no.
Yep.
All right. So, Amanda, what do you got for Caleb?
So, Caleb, I'm going to get to today's tough question as well. And I'll ask you before I ask the entire audience, who do you think is the most important player going into Saturday's game for Tennessee?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, let's
We
all
can go.
Yeah, that's a good one. Let's all jump in on that on the message board. Caleb, you answer that. I have a vote, and then is that going to be today's tough question?
That is.
I love it. All right, Caleb, you start.
Ooh, I kind of need a second. Yeah, I kind of got caught off guard with this, so I kind of need a second to think about it. But
Caleb, we talked about it at the 5 a.m. production meeting. You were there. We met in Raleigh, I believe it was. So you have no excuses.
It's a rough drive.
I got it.
Caleb's got it.
I'm there. It's a tie, and it depends on who's starting. But given the fact that they were saying he's going to be back out there on Saturday. If he's starting, I'm going to say Gerald Mincy. He's got the toughest job because Will Anderson is coming from around that side. So I think that if Hendon Hooker is going to be Hendon Hooker, someone's going to have to do something on Will Anderson, and that's probably going to be Gerald Mincy.
I'm going to actually say D. Williams.
Wow.
And here's why. I'm not saying that it'll turn out that way, but there's a difference between predicting the MIP, as I like to call it, the most important player, and the most valuable player at the end of the game. So if he's able to step up and have a significant impact, then Tennessee's secondary goes from below average to maybe average. So I'm picking a guy that I think will come out of left field. So I'll pick D. Williams, or I guess I could. Who was the defensive back that spoke to the media that you wrote about?
Christian Charles.
I guess it could be Christian Charles. Can I on mine, Amanda? Can I go D. Williams / Christian Charles?
Those are two players.
Yeah, but I mean a defensive back to be named later. I mean, if somebody can step up and have a big game, then I think that changes Tennessee's chances to win. What about you, Amanda? And anybody who wants to get on the message board, who is Tennessee's most important player against Alabama? Is Gerald Mincy going to play, Sam? They said yesterday that he would play, yes. So, Amanda, what about you? Do you have a thought on this?
So I'm going to pick out somebody who was really good against LSU, who I said would be the player to watch against LSU. And I'm going to toot my own horn because I often do that when I'm right, especially the fact that Tennessee would be the hardest game that Alabama is going to have to face this season. I was right about that, and they'll upset Georgia, and I'm going to be right about that. Anywho, continuing on, Jalen Hyatt, I think, is going to be the most important player because Cedric Tillman is going to be, if he starts, if he gets the go-ahead, he's going to be covered by, somebody, one of Alabama's backs. I mean, they're going to be focused on Cedric Tillman because they know what he can do. Also focused on Brew McCoy because they also know what he can do. Jalen Hyatt, again, is that sneaky little guy that comes in there and grabs the ball and is gone before you even know he's gone. So I think if Tennessee's offense wants to succeed against Alabama, and I know people are like, Alabama's defense isn't that great. They're actually pretty good. If they want to succeed against this Alabama defense, Jalen Hyatt's going to have to be the player he was against LSU.
Okay. I'm going to give you an out like I'm giving me an out. Okay. So I'm going to have two defensive backs on my list, on my entry. And then you can have Brew McCoy / Jalen Hyatt on the same entry.
I'm just going Jalen Hyatt. I don't need Brew McCoy.
That's the way to go, isn't it, Caleb? So we're talking about help me.
Well, I would agree with Amanda in the sense of if you're going with Jalen Hyatt, the way Jalen Hyatt is going to beat you is not the way Brew McCoy is going to beat you. Brew McCoy is very Cedric Tillman-like, which is, and it's a little bit different where this is why Tennessee needs Cedric Tillman back, is that your favorite thing about Cedric Tillman is You know the ball's going to him. The defense knows the ball is going to him. And the question is, what are you going to do to stop it? Jalen Hyatt, Amanda's right, is more – he's sneaky. You kind of sneak him out into – like that touchdown pass, that 45-yard touchdown pass on Saturday, that's one of the best play calls I think I've ever seen a coach make. If you guys saw, he snuck Hyatt behind the wideouts and then had him running on the outside down the sideline. I will say, Amanda, I don't know if Josh Heupel pulls that off this week, not just because he's going against Nick Saban, but because he had 2 weeks to draw up that play. He only has one for Alabama. So
I think you showed that play, though, to scare the safety. It's kind of a modified will route. I'm a big fan of throw everything out there and make them prepare with everything as opposed to hold stuff back. That's me. I remember back in the days that Tennessee would hold stuff back before they play Florida, and I was like, Sam says Hendon Hooker. Sam, I'm going to say that Hendon Hooker's a known commodity.
It's the easy out, Sam. It's the easy out.
Don't call Sam out. Brittany says Byron Young. I want Byron Young on there.
All right, so we're doing that, and I'm not giving you 2. You get D. Williams, and that's all you get.
No, then I'm going to change it to Christian Charles.
Okay.
So who's the most important player for Tennessee this weekend? We have Christian Charles, Byron Young, and again, we're taking into account that some of these are known commodities. Okay, so Hendon Hooker's a known commodity. He's not going to go out there and just wet the bed.
Do you want me to just say unknown then?
I just say of this list, who's the most important or important?
Okay.
So,
and I want to point out, don't sleep on Byron Young. Alabama did give up 4 sacks last week. So if Noro starts, if Bryce Young is hurt, then that might be something to pay attention to.
That's good stuff. All right. So who's our fourth?
So it's Christian Charles, Gerald Mincy, Jalen Hyatt, and Byron Young.
Okay.
And maybe in parentheses, excluding Hendon Hooker because we know Hendon Hooker.
Yeah. And then we had Patricia said Jabari Small.
Ooh, Patricia just throwing heat, Patricia.
Yeah, I'll put Jabari on there because let's face it, if he has 160 yards, it means the offense is balanced and pretty impossible to stop. So
that would be 5.
Oh, how many do we have?
We have 4. Christian Charles, Gerald Mincy, Jalen Hyatt, Byron Young.
Well, see, I'm going to take Mincy off because
okay.
I think they'd be okay with Jeremiah Crawford.
Well, I was kind of trying to pull a U, though. I was like Gerald Mincy or Jeremiah Crawford, whoever is lining up at left tackle on Saturday.
Well, both of you all ripped that idea. I mean,
yeah, no, I didn't rip the idea. No, that's just Amanda.
That was me. I did rip that. I ripped it. Yep.
I was trying to get several players on there, and
I saw that.
So at the end of the day, we're going with Christian Charles. We're going with Jalen Hyatt. We're going with Jabari Small and Byron Young. Of this list, who is the most important player? So go ahead and send that out, and we'll get your votes and get your thoughts. Be sure and like, subscribe, and share. We greatly appreciate that, and always. The Caleb Calhoun's appearance is brought to you by Zul Beer Company. That's zulbeer.com, XULbeer.com. Zul Beer Company is fantastic, worldwide award-winning craft beer, and also they have just tremendous merch and a great place to hang out and watch the game, big open setting and places to park as well. So, all right, so those 4. Crazy says, let's go 4 wide and stretch them out. If they double set and brew, that leaves Hyatt and Keaton plus the running back or tight end singled. I'm not going to go 4 wide because I think Tennessee's too good at tight end. So I would have Princeton Fant or Jacob Warren, who is on the YouTube channel. I would have one of those 2 in the game at all times. So basically I'm talking about 3 wide. Then you got to tailback in there. Would you? I don't know how often Tennessee goes 4 wide. Caleb, it seems to me like they're pretty set on the 3 and a tight.
Yeah, that's been more common. I did some randomly just exhaustive, fun reading about Josh Heupel's what exactly you call the offense over the weekend, and it's apparently a combination of the veer and shoot and the air raid. And so the
veer raid.
Yes, the veer raid is what we should call it because it involves the veer and shoot that Art Briles ran without as many zone reads. But a lot of it is about just But I mean, I don't see many receiver option routes in the game. Do you guys? I feel like you go 4 wide if you have option routes with receivers, and I think most of them are pre-snap designed routes.
I agree. Crazy saying, Caleb, why do you hate the orange out? Do you
All
hate
right.
the orange out?
I wrote this on Fansided at Offer, Tennessee. That's probably where he saw it. Yes, I hate the orange out. I think it's stupid. I think if you do anything out, you need to do an alternate color. Neyland Stadium is 75% orange anyway when you go to the games. And
I don't hate it, but I'll tell you this. I think that it's a little. Well, I think it lacks creativity.
Why didn't
It's
they just
better.
bring this?
Sorry. It's better than the red out when you're playing someone who's red.
Exactly. Yes, it's not as dumb as what Arkansas did. But if you're going to do this, why not wear the smoky grays this week and do a gray out?
That's what I said. But
Yes.
no one likes the gray out.
Or
Caleb.
wait till Halloween, bring the black jerseys back out and do a blackout, and then have the orange pants that Lane Kiffin's. Remember the Lane Kiffin year with the black jerseys and the orange pants? Like, do that. An orange out. You don't wear the color of the. You don't wear your main color as do an all-out stadium part for a game. That makes no sense.
Brittany says the orange will stand out against that awful crimson. Sorry, Amanda. I think
orange is going to stand out anyway, though. Okay, sorry.
Listen, now this was kind of pushed by a local reporter, and that was they should bring back the orange and the red jerseys for this one game. Both be able to wear their
home colors.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
I don't know.
Okay,
why would you do that though?
They did it back in the 70s, right?
I know, but it's not the 70s.
And I think there are things that, like, working at other jobs I've done where I deal with visual things, there's a little level of insensitivity to certain people have retina issues that can't distinguish the colors that well. If you do, like, because orange is a variation of red, so orange and crimson to people who may have certain eyesight issues that we don't know about, that could actually be those could run together.
Oh, well, I didn't know that. Okay, then don't do that, because I want to
like media members.
It's rare that somebody throws something out there that completely changes my mind in a heartbeat, but I don't want anybody to not be able to enjoy the game just because I like a plethora of colors. So don't do that. So Brittany says we'll do a black and orange checkerboard against UK with the dark mode unis.
That'd actually be pretty epic.
I'm
game.
Black
and
Is
that Halloween?
That's the Saturday before Halloween. Do it. Somebody tweet Danny White. Black and orange checkerboard. Yes.
Brittany, you're on that. That's actually not a bad idea. I don't hate that.
I think it's awesome.
Pretty cool looking. Yeah, that looked like Halloween.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
Don't do it like the way Lane did it, where I think he decided on Sunday afternoon to do black jerseys, and they didn't have the names on the back, did they? I mean, they just ran out there, and those things up close. I have never seen a worse jersey in my life, just in terms of quality and up close.
Well, they didn't even wear those in the warm-ups. They were.
Yeah, they went out there and they went out there in the warm-ups and they changed. And one guy like peeked around the corner in the tunnel, and he was wearing a black jersey.
But did they win that game? Because I think they did.
They won big. Yeah, they beat South Carolina, and
that was their last top 25 win for like 4 years.
Yeah, that kind of changed my thoughts on a lot of people that flat out lied to me at the university, but about a jersey. I was like, if you're going to lie to me about something like an NCAA investigation or an injury. Don't lie to me about a stupid jersey. But if you're going to do it right. Those jerseys up close, I swear to you, when my son played Little League football, his jerseys were nicer than those jerseys. They were. I mean, they up close. They look like the tearaway jerseys that the NFL had in the 70s. They were horrible. So if you're going to do it right. Please like, subscribe, and share. We greatly appreciate that. So we have come down to today's tough question, and we've come down to how about more black jerseys? Well, I guess if you want to do that, you can. My thought on the orange out, and I'm just going to leave it at this. Could you not think of anything? I mean, is that it?
You know what would be super cool? Okay, I'm just going to go out on a limb here. What would be super cool is if everybody did orange, except for certain sections did black, and it looked like pumpkin. It was like an eye and black, 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 and it looked like a jack-o'-lantern.
Black checkerboard, but we're gonna like
That would
we
be
will
so
be
cool,
piling on and
though.
making fun of how silly that looks.
I think it would be cool. I would be impressed.
Is this to Alabama and you coming out where you just want to start saying Tennessee looks like a pumpkin the rest of the year?
No, I think for Halloween that would be super cool.
This is almost as this is Tennessee fans already get the jokes of looking like crossing guards with the amount of orange they wear, and now you want them to be forced to look like pumpkins.
It would be cool just from an aerial view, like Halloween. It would be cool if it
most
looked
of the
like a
game
pumpkin.
is not going to be shown from an aerial view.
I know, but still be cool. That's all I'm saying. It would still be cool.
Would you have some people wear green, like the green stem of a pumpkin?
No, why would you do that? That's dumb.
I think you're right. Just
you know what? At this point, let's just have old William Shatner mask, spray paint it white, cut the eyes. That was the original Michael Myers mask for the first Halloween, and everybody wear that with the black and orange checkerboard. Make it really scary.
all right. I'm gonna hook somebody up with. I'm gonna hook somebody up with a gift certificate to Craft Treats for the chill pills if they can tell me what William Shatner connection is out there that has to do with me and Tennessee football.
Can I get to today's tough question from yesterday? We had a pretty big response, and
but
I'm just
in the meantime, what connection do I have to William Shatner other than
I'm giving them time?
Right. Other than I sold like $3 million worth of Pedigo e-bikes across the nation, and he is an endorser for Pedigo. But okay, but there's the connection. So what connection is it? Brittany says she just tweeted Danny White, but doubt it will go anywhere. Tag me. I'll tweet him.
Wait, I love Brittany's suggestion. Rashawn Golden as the guest picker. Rashawn Golden was the guy who flipped off the fans on that pick six during Butch Jones's last year. Like, do it. Yes, bring Rashawn Golden.
Tennessee lost 42-7.
Yes, that flip off should have been directed at Butch Jones. Okay.
Yes,
but
agreed.
Still.
Yeah, how about they just go ahead and add who was the guy around in second in the Supers, or was it the regionals? I believe.
Oh, the one that
the baseball player, the Tennessee baseball player.
I can't remember.
Oh, was it Jordan Beck? It wasn't Jordan Beck.
No, it was Jordan. We don't want to lay the one finger salute on the wrong person. But yeah,
you're right. It wasn't.
Both those guys up and say, wait to see what happens to the break. Does anybody know the connection to William Shatner?
I was going to give the input on the thing while people thought about it or maybe Googled it.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you the connection to William Shatner if you want to win something from Craft Treats. And what you want to win is the chill pills. The chill pills are fantastic. I'm gonna let that lay out there for just a little bit longer. How about that?
Okay.
If you can connect, you're both space brains, Orange Blood said. Probably. But if you can connect William Shatner to this Tennessee football program and me individually, think of maybe a part that he played at one point. Amanda was on vacation when we pulled out the theme song to this.
I remember this. Okay.
And you were right, Caleb. It was Jordan Beck.
Yes.
Oh, I was right.
Okay.
Right.
So what was today's tough question yesterday? And where did that end up?
Okay. After seeing the details, should Jalen Mccola be suspended against Alabama? So it was kind of like it was neck and neck. It was 30 or 36% no, but still not good. 29.9% was no, it was self-defense. 25.6% was yeah, he should be suspended because you can't do that. And then 8.5% was inexcusable. Yes, inexcusable. So, I mean, no, nah, and yeah, we're kind of like neck and neck with nah, but still not good. It's functional coming out.
Yeah, that's because we know the details of how it happened, and if like the worst accusations are true, I would say he has to be suspended. But because look, I get the whole self-defense thing, but it's not really self-defense once you follow them out of your house or your apartment. Like,
it was only 30 feet. It was only 30 feet. That's not even like following somebody out of their house. It's stepping out the front door.
There had to be some sass by the other dude. I just thought about it more and more. And I'm not going to throw that. I don't know this. I wasn't there, but there had to be some sass by the other dude, right? Mike says TJ Hooker. Mike, you're exactly right. So you can email me and you can win a gift certificate for the
Orange Blood said it before Mike.
Yeah, but Orange Blood's won a lot of stuff.
Well, you can't just disqualify him for that.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes, but the Jalen Mccola thing, you can't, like, we're taking a statement from somebody who is blacked out drunk to the point that they go into the wrong apartment.
Well, that's my point. I'm saying assuming everything is true. I didn't want to comment on it because we just don't know everything that went into it. And
have you ever been blacked out drunk before?
Yes, and I probably walked into the wrong apartment before. So.
Exactly. Do you remember what happened? No.
No, but
neither
okay.
do
Look,
I.
I get, and I totally understand, and I understand, and all, you know. I'm saying this is assuming the details are true. We don't know what happened. All I'm saying is I don't want his career ruined. I don't want him suspended or dismissed from the team or anything like that. But like I would say, like, once someone is outside of your house, once they've come in and you've gotten them out, I do think at that point you kind of got to let him go. You shouldn't. I mean, he got arrested on aggravated assault, which leads me to believe that this wasn't just like a random punch thrown. This seems like there was some, you know.
Well, the dude fell down the stairs, and I think that's why it was aggravated assault, because the blacked out drunk dude couldn't take a punch and rolled down the stairs, which is probably.
We don't know that he was blacked out drunk.
We actually do know he was.
I will say that we don't know he's blacked out. We don't know if he remembers it.
He admitted so. He said he was drunk.
Yeah, but we don't know. Blacked out to me means you can't remember anything, right? Isn't that?
Well, but then he fell down the stairs and reportedly sustained a concussion. So if you're drunk and you sustain a concussion, how you remembering anything?
I will tell you a factor in this that has always been the case. And if Caleb punches me in the mouth, he's probably not going to knock out teeth unless he's a lot stronger than I think and knows really how to throw a punch. A lot of these guys, you got to remember, 20, 21 years old are hitting their physical peak and hitting the weight room, and they don't realize how strong they are. So I think if he would have known before he threw the punch, and who wouldn't, that it's going to knock out teeth, it probably would have been one of those shoves in the chest as opposed to a punch in the mouth, because that's a whole different.
But he could have knocked out his teeth on the steps. Like, nobody knows when his teeth got knocked out. You take a tumble down the stairs. It's very possible.
Okay, so you're saying it may have been a light pop to the face. He tumbles down the stairs, knocks his teeth out, and okay. Well, the police still arrested him, and I think the police are pretty good dudes.
Well, I'm not saying anything about the police.
They charged him with an aggravated felony. I mean, it wasn't just an assault. So,
well, I would do the same thing if I walked up and saw a dude who had no teeth or missing teeth on the ground with a concussion from another dude punching him. But when you look at everything and you're looking at it all and you're saying, well, you were drunk. You went into the dude's house. You probably said some stuff, because even you admitted, Mr. Drunk Concussed person, that you said some stuff to him, that y'all got into a verbal altercation. You do that, and then the guy, he punches you and you fall down the stairs, then I would be like, okay, well, maybe not.
And I'm coming to your side somewhat, Amanda. I'm still more on I think outside of the house, I just can't let it go. But I'll say, and I want to be all very, very serious here. But if you're Jalen Mccola, we all remember that horrible story in Dallas where the officer accidentally walked into the wrong room. She was one floor below, and then she shot the guy in his own home because she thought it was her home. And, that things like that are probably on the mind of somebody like Jalen Mccola, or anybody for that matter. If you live in an apartment or dorm and someone walks in.
I mean, if somebody's in my house, I'm going to buck up, and you've pretty much got an opportunity to say, my bad, or yes, it's going to get physical, or maybe worse. But if he says my bad and then walks away, I'm just going to be like, okay.
Yeah. Do you think he really did that though? He's like, oh, I said I'm sorry and backed out. Right. There's no way. Why would Jalen Mccola be like, oh, you're sorry, back out, let me come and punch you? There's no way that's what happened.
Unless Jalen Mccola is drunk too. We don't know. I mean,
well, he wasn't, because they did not charge him with
underage drinking.
Yeah, they would have charged him.
You're right. That's true.
But
that's a good point.
if the dude just was like, oh, sorry, wrong door, let me back out here. My bad, dude. So sorry. Keep in mind, we're taking the word of a concussed drunk person. Let's just keep that in mind. So if he did all of that, there's no way no one in their right mind would come out their front door and knock the dude in the face. That's no way that happened. There's no way that was all that happened. And he punched you in the face when I politely walked in and said, oops, I'm sorry, my bad, and backed out. No, you didn't do that.
I bet when Jalen got home from being in the Gray Bar Hotel, the first thing he did is he locked his door. That would have precluded all of this from happening.
I think it's funny you say athletes don't know their own strength. One of my favorite moments, there's a great old Bill Burr stand-up, and it's still I'm with him. I will never forget the Malice at the Palace when Ron Artest went into the stands and beat the heck out of the fans. And everybody was talking like, this is so horrible for basketball and NBA fans. And I remember Bill Burr saying, and I agree with him, like, I'm a basketball fan. I thought it was awesome. Like, I loved watching out of shape, obnoxious fans get the crap beat out of them, because we've all been there probably. We've all been at a game, and we've all talked so much trash to people who could clearly beat us up. Like, who could clearly, like, destroy us if they wanted to. And here we are drinking like, you suck, guys. You can't do anything. And then it's like, not the guy he beat up, unfortunately, but the guy next to him had the nerve to throw a cup of beer on Ron Artest. I'm sorry. The guy that Ron Artest beat up should have gotten out of the way. So
I don't think people understand the difference in athleticism and power and strength that even a Squirrel White has. He's probably the smallest, least developed player on Tennessee's team. But non-kickers, sorry, Chase McGrath, could beat the bleep out of most people walking the face of the earth in college football.
And Wisconsin's kicker could beat the bleep out of most people because he's jacked all to crap.
Yeah, and he wouldn't get in trouble because nobody knows who in the world he is. Like, some guy beat me up.
Isn't that the same with Missouri's kicker too?
Yeah.
Daniel said, do any of y'all know, do they have a rally point when they do something stupid? Or are they told to go somewhere or something, because they rarely ever stay on the scene? I don't know if there's like an Avengers Assemble thing going on, but I do know that they typically have a card in their pocket where they'll call somebody. Now, Jalen left the scene. I'm sure that didn't make police incredibly happy, but he did come immediately back, and he was smart enough not to say anything, because that can be held against you in a court of law. And so he was smart enough not to say anything. So I get, it's so funny. In my career, I was the cynical one, but now I'm so impressed by this program. I get painted as rosy rainbows, and the guy who is a cheerleader for Tennessee, which I'm not, I give him credit for coming right back. The police didn't have to go find him, and he came right back, and he acquiesced to their orders, and it's done. I told Caleb, you weren't on. I told a man about a situation with Josh McNeil. Do you remember him?
I remember Josh McNeil.
Yeah,
he had an underage drinking incident in like 2007, right?
Well, he had he was with, I think, 4 or maybe it was 400. I don't know, women in his room, and good for him, I guess. But he wouldn't answer the door, so they had to bring a guy that was a part of the university to the door, and before he would open the door, he didn't open the door for police. That makes it a lot worse. And along the lines of Daniel's point, they typically, that at least under previous, I'm sure they do under Josh Heupel, they used to have a card in your wallet that you could call when something went wrong. Now I'm sure it's just a cell phone number that somebody. It used to be Condridge Holloway would fill those calls a lot of times, which we talked about Hooker wearing the shirt with him on it. So that was part of his responsibilities. They put so much on Condridge, it was ridiculous. And then the Derek Dooley thing, where you had to call ahead if you're a former Tennessee player to go to practice.
Oh, I forgot about that. That was so
gosh,
it created such a. Well, wasn't it some level of gamesmanship because Derek Dooley was just trying. He didn't want people to see. What was it? He didn't want people to see the practices, and I'm like, what do you? I'm sorry, I don't know how y'all feel. Dave, I don't believe in the gamesmanship of hiding practices from people. I just don't think that that makes a difference.
NFL's primarily open. No, I don't think it makes a big. I don't think I don't think 90% of the dudes know what they're looking at. I can tell you that I said something when practice was open one time in 10 years, and I said on the radio, I said that it might be interesting to see Jason Witten line up as a receiver. And I got a phone call Friday morning at my office from Philip Fulmer, and got on a plane, flew down to, ironically, LSU, and got an earful at the walkthrough from Philip Fulmer because I didn't realize that I'd said anything that significant. And apparently this is before stuff went viral. So apparently somebody heard it and got back to him. And that was their big plan, to line Jason Witten up wide for the first time as a wide receiver. So that was.
But it's not your job to protect Philip Fulmer or the team on that. So.
No, but it was an understanding that we all had, and this is why you can't do it now, because you have 40 beat reporters that really don't know. A lot of them don't know what they're doing, and you have people there that the understanding was, like, let's say for instance, you saw some sort of special Wildcat package that afterwards, with the TV cameras were done, because he would just say what he wanted to say for TV. And then we would ask the real questions, the 5 or so beat reporter. So if you said, what about that Wildcat package? Do you think Bob Jones can be good in that? And he said, I don't want that out there. Then the understanding was you didn't write that. So that was the give and take between open practices.
Okay.
So that was the understanding, and which I was cool with, and which I still think should be the case. Robert says, I tell you my version, but Amanda is more likely correct. He was so drunk he did not know where he even was. If I had to guess, the dude walked into the apartment and they got into a fight. No, in the apartment. No, they didn't. That was outside. That was according to the police report that he was.
Yes, but that's according just to what the one guy said. The only person that talked was the dude. So we have no idea what happened in the apartment. We have no clue. No one else has been talked to. No one else has been asked, or at least not anybody else who's reported the story. There's not another side. This is just coming from the drunk guy with the concussion. That's all I'm saying. We remember AJ Johnson. You remember that whole thing where everyone said he was guilty. He did this. He got kicked off the team. His career went, into the
4-year delayed NFL
crapper.
career.
Exactly. And what ended up happening? He wasn't actually guilty. He was never guilty. And I get that this guy has a punch in the mouth or whatever, but you don't know what happened in that apartment. No one knows.
The crazy part of that AJ Johnson story was that was like the catalyst for that big lawsuit against the university in, I guess, 2015 or 2016, which is what rehashed. Remember, right after he won the Super Bowl, that rehashed the Peyton Manning trainer incident in 1997, because that came back to light because of the lawsuit against the university, which stemmed from the AJ Johnson case.
So stupid. That was. Does anybody remember SEC Country? Does anybody remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
Okay, so I for a while on the side while I was hosting a radio show, I wrote for SEC Country, and they called me, and they were so stupid. And I would tell them to their face, they were just stupid. And I said, this has all been reported in 1998. The
Yeah,
moon,
96.
96. I'm sorry. It's all been reported. And they said, well, if you're uncomfortable because you're too close to the program, I'm like, does anybody know me? I mean, do you have any? I have no
A
problem.
quick Google search of Knoxville News Sentinel articles at the time.
Well, these guys were all in there. Well, one was stupid, just all out stupid, and he was my age, and the other guys were in their mid-20s, so it was the first they had heard about it. So it was a big monster deal to them. Peyton Manning, oh my gosh, because he's still playing the NFL. Mooney, oh my gosh, did he sit on her and all this stuff? And it's just like, oh my gosh.
And nobody understood that because it was a resue in 2003, and that's when she brought all the more disturbing details. But again, you throw everything you can at a lawsuit, and then Peyton Manning settled. And the reason he settled, like, I'm sure if he thought that those details were going to come back out, he'd have fought it in court because he probably would have won.
Well, that was Peyton Manning's fault because he included a reference to her in the book. So
yeah, which was a dumb thing to do.
Yeah, when they came when they came to the first settlement, they were both supposed to keep their mouths shut. So Peyton Manning is the one that opened it up the second time with his book. Pedigo Chattanooga, locally owned store where you'll be treated like family. The region's foremost electric bike experts. They put their hearts into helping you find the perfect electric bike and get the most out of it for many years to come. You've got to check them out. If you order an e-bike just online, I am going to go ahead and tell you that you're not going to have service if you need it, and you're getting an inferior product. So I tell you who would get to the bottom of this. Again, Pedigo Chattanooga. TJ Hooker would get to the bottom of this.
Oh, and also I want to point out in Amanda's defense too, you're right, and it is one-sided, and you guys are both right. That's because Jalen Mccola is not talking, and he shouldn't talk without a lawyer present, because I will say my friend is a defense attorney, and he's like, I don't care how innocent you are, you don't say a word without a lawyer.
Thank you. That's what I said.
Did you hear the audio? What the other guy said?
No, I haven't heard the
audio. Yeah, the audio was a
Was it really? So the drunk concussed person?
No, because he got punched in the mouth. It was a joke.
Oh,
I thought it was because he was drunk and concussed.
No, it was a joke. He didn't. It was like the cheeseburger thing. All I got's a cheeseburger. You remember that, right? The new Keith Richardson and
oh my gosh,
yes. That was the greatest quote ever. All I got's a cheeseburger.
What was in the mind of New Keith Richardson that night? And I forget the other ones who were involved.
There was New Keith and the other defensive back. His name escapes me.
Amanda, this was Lane Kiffin's recruit, rising star receiver recruit, and decided one day it'd be funny to go commit an armed robbery on a gas station.
New Keith Richardson, by the way, still the only player that I've seen straddle a punt, and he did it twice. He let a punt go between his legs, which if it touches him, it's live, right? He let a punt go between his legs, not once, but twice in a month. That's pretty amazing.
That is. He's also the guy that Lane Kiffin got in trouble for when he went to a public war with Urban Meyer. It was over recruiting New Keith Richardson, which is hilarious because then 6 months into Lane Kiffin's tenure, New Keith Richardson is dismissed from the team.
The 2009 Tennessee signing class, more felons than 5 stars.
One of the wildest, but that year was a vibe, man.
Yeah, that year was pretty groovy. Yeah. I didn't even do cardio back then because Lane always used to jog from the practice field to his office. So I had to jog with him in order to get any sort of quote. It was a surreal year. And I guess that would have been, that was the 2009 class. And they had Bryce Brown in there, and I had a lot of dudes. But Jansen Jackson is serving time in the California penal facility for murdering his mother's boyfriend. But other than that,
wait till the 2008 stats come from the Florida team.
Oh, those are
all right.
Those are worse. Those are worse.
I was writing for the Daily Beacon at the time in 2007. And Dave, you probably remember this more than I do. Remember how gross it was, how much that Urban Meyer hid behind Tim Tebow's public spectacle of Christianity to pretend that he was running a good program?
Yeah. There was one good dude on that team, and the rest of them were just, I don't want to say the rest of them, but the vast majority of the other ones were just thugs.
And it's funny because there's an instance where there's it's like a joke. Tim Tebow, Riley Cooper, and Aaron Hernandez walk into a bar. That's it. That's the joke. There's no punchline.
That's the punchline. It's all wrapped into one.
Yes.
All wrapped into one.
Caleb, we'll have great stuff from you. We look forward to that on offthehooksports.com. Keep up the great work, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
Sure. I mean, there was a
Bye,
reason
Caleb.
Lane Kiffin was able to put together that sort of class. I mean, there was a reason, and it was because a lot of them had questionable character issues.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
That was also the first signing day that I remember that drug on for weeks because he kept trying to get Bryce Brown to come. And there was a Jansen Jackson went a day late. The Mattress Place on Chapman Highway, 22 years on Chapman Highway, A+ accredited member of the Better Business Bureau, over 225 5-star reviews on Google. It is phenomenal. Huge selection of the flippable mattresses. But the bottom line is, they've got 30 to 70% off each and every day, and they're closer to downtown than you might think. That's the Mattress Place. Again, the Mattress Place. They are absolutely phenomenal. If you want to find them, and they're on Chapman Highway, very easy to find. You can go to their website, which is mymattressplace.com, mymattressplace.com. Please tell them that Off the Hook Sports sent you. Again, we only endorse people that we absolutely believe in. Orange Blood saying there's no chance this stuff doesn't happen at Tuscaloosa. The whole town is complicit. Look at Amanda's response that they cover stuff up in Tuscaloosa.
I mean, I think everyone does to an extent.
I think everyone did. I do think that Tennessee, because it's a bigger city, and Philip Fulmer made some members of the police department very angry at one point for some public comments he made questioning the police. I do think that Knoxville, there was more reported in Knoxville by the police, and now you have body cameras and all that stuff. So I don't think a lot's swept under the rug anymore. It might be, but somebody's going to lose their job if a police officer says, "Hey, you're Bob Jones, the star player in this town. We're going to let you roll," and he's like all flirty. I mean,
Orange Blood, no. Like just in May of 2022, an Alabama player was arrested. So like
this day, and I don't think that Nick Saban has to cover up stuff because I think he's got enough good dudes. This day in sports history, brought to you by Brittany, who's awesome. Coming up momentarily, and it's pretty strong. Give me 2 minutes. This is Off the Hook Sports.
It's Gary Viles here, Viles Automotive on Calhoun Drive. I've been selling cars here in East Tennessee for 27 years. In that time, I've come to realize it's not about the car. It's about you, the customer. So I'm here to take care of you just like family. Good credit, bad credit, you name it, we can get you taken care of. If we don't have it, we can find it for you. We go across the country to get any vehicle that you want. And here at Viles Automotive, we don't believe in fake numbers. We just give you great deals. And as always, we want, we need, and we appreciate your business.
Do you want to own the more that owns every job? Then get to Vassy Lawn and Garden in Cleveland and get you a Toro. I'm David Vassy, here to talk to you about Toro. With a Toro Zero Turn, you'll get more out of every minute and you'll reach the finish line faster. At Vassy's, we like to say, no matter if you're mowing 3 acres a week or 11 lawns a day, homeowners and business owners alike find confidence in equipment they can trust from top to bottom.
Vassy Lawn and Garden, Highway 60 North in Cleveland.
Man alive, it's worth the drive.
This is Steve Rain. I own the Midnight Oil and Michelin Tire Direct service station here in Ottawa. It's not a fancy place, never has been, but it's a clean place with clean restrooms and good folks who work here. We sell gas and fix cars, nothing glamorous, but we love what we do, and we're going to keep doing it for a long time to come. There's not many real service stations left, and that's a shame. We're the guys just like the guys back in your hometown. We'll fix your tire, change your oil, and put a new set of Michelins on your car. If you want a Twinkie, you'll just have to keep on going. Thanks for the business.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
of the box? A little much for you?
Little much.
Try It Again Tuesday, which we do each and every Tuesday, and I forgot to reference it, but Try It Again Tuesday was the kick returner for LSU. The opening kickoff, you're in a rebuilding, and that's why we played the clips earlier that were fantastic with Cooper Mays. Man, that has to suck. So that my wife's like, after I'm trying to clip these things, I can clip audio pretty well, but I struggle with video still. And I'm trying to pull these things. And after the 18th time hearing it, I'm still giggling laying in bed, editing this. And she's like, okay, it was funny, but it's not that funny. And I thought it was still funny. By the way,
I think it's funny.
Yes. Man, that has to suck.
That has to suck.
All right. So, what's your Try It Again Tuesday?
So Alabama's defensive player, I can't remember his name at the moment, was asked.
Makes it more difficult when you don't know who the player is that's on Try It Again Tuesday.
No, it's because it doesn't have anything to do with him, really.
Okay.
But he was asked, is the guy that covered the Texas A&M wide receiver at the end of the game. And a lot of people are like, it's pass interference. The ball was way over his head. It was uncatchable. So you can't have a pass interference on an uncatchable ball. But continuing on, they were asked, you covered him really well. How did you know? Jimbo Fisher on the sideline was yelling the dude's last name, or the dude's first. He was yelling his name. It was, he kept going, Evans.
Oh.
Yeah, Evans. And the guy was like, well, I know where he's going, because that's the name of a wide receiver on Texas A&M's team. So Jimbo Fisher over there just yelling out the name of where they're throwing the ball. So try it again, Jimbo.
Try It Again Tuesday, brought to you by Owl's Nest Barbecue, the home of all the sauces and rubs you could possibly even dream of. It is right there. Owl's Nest Barbecue is phenomenal. And Owl's Nest Barbecue also has the Green Mountain Grills. Go tell them that Off the Hook Sports sent you, and Steve Ray will hook you up, because those grills are phenomenal. This day in sports history, it's now. And it's not turned up.
Putting things in perspective, exclusively on Off the Hook Sports with Dave Hooker.
You're so old. When you were a kid, rainbows were black and white.
And Amanda LaFrada.
New Kids on the Block just called. They wanted you as a backup dancer.
Okay, so I'm, I guess, virtually in love with Brittany, who's become a part of the program. I know, virtually in love. So there was a book once upon a time. It was This Day in Tennessee Sports History. I think it may have been called the Almanac. And I've looked and looked for it and haven't been able to find it. And I even have emailed Tennessee Sports Information Director Bill Martin, who I'm sure has better things to do than find a book for me. And he's eventually said that, I don't know where this book is or what this book's called. And I said, neither do I. So we were struggling a little bit with This Day in Sports History, that we wanted to be Tennessee themed. And then Brittany joins us every day on the show, and we can't thank her enough, because she created a spreadsheet for UT related This Day in Sports History, a spreadsheet. Now, I'm a guy that doesn't even really know how to make a spreadsheet. So in and of itself, that she created a spreadsheet was pretty phenomenal from my perspective. Can you create a spreadsheet, Amanda?
Yes.
Okay. Then maybe that part's not the impressive part, but this part's the impressive part.
It's all impressive.
Yes, it's all impressive. I mean, did you know that it has different columns? And it has different places that you can go left or right on there?
That's a spreadsheet. That's a spreadsheet.
Oh. I think it's cool. So October the 12th, 1996, this day in Tennessee sports history, thanks to Brittany. Tennessee defeated number 12 Georgia for the 6th straight win over the Bulldogs. Some guy named Peyton Manning threw for 371 yards, 2 touchdowns, school record 11 straight completions, which I believe was later broken by T. Martin. Is that right? So, yeah, that's a pretty good this day in sports history. Beating
What day?
It was today, October 12th, 1996.
Today's October the 11th.
Okay. October the 11th, we know what tomorrow's is. Did you know you can scroll up and down on a spreadsheet?
Yes. I know how to work a spreadsheet. I know how to make a spreadsheet. I know Excel.
Okay. So, thank you, Brittany. So I scrolled up on the spreadsheet. We know what tomorrow's is. So, head coach Joseph Audley, J.A. Pierce, led Tennessee to a win over Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Association foe Georgia by a whopping score of 5-0. The first Tennessee team to have a head coach have also had 5 shutouts in 8 games during that season. And that was back in 1899. So forget what I said about Peyton Manning. We'll visit that tomorrow. And thank you very much, Brittany.
Right, are we doing message board bingo?
Brittany is, dang it, Dave. Sorry. Got a lot going on. All right. So here we go. Message board bingo. Yes, we are. We got time for one of those. Your opportunity to win some chill pills from Craft Treats. By the way, you go to Craft Treats and use the promo code Off the Hook and you get 20% off. How awesome is that? So we're going to take care of you. And all you have to do is tell me what team's message board this was posted to by what lunatic. No, you don't have to name the lunatic, but you can. Yes, but just name the team. Crazy said, I drive a truck, never worked in any kind of office setting. I can work a spreadsheet. I thought when I started reading that, I thought that Crazy was backing me and said, I don't know what a spreadsheet is either. Oh man, my poor former boss, Lucy.
Your poor wife.
My poor former boss, Lucy, when she's like, she was trying to explain a spreadsheet to me at one point, and it just didn't happen. All right, so
Really?
she's a blessed soul. She is incredible for tolerating me. Let's go to message board bingo, which is now.
All right, so this is an SEC school. I have to say that because it's not very, it's going to be easy to guess. So our coach's neck hair. Okay, our coach's neck hair. Does he shave it or does he need the bye week to find time? That's the post.
I think I know who it is. I think I know who it is. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. We love that stuff. All right. So you got 10 seconds. 5. This is where it gets intense.
Harry.
Brandon said Kentucky. I'm going to go with, and Crazy said the best one yet. Good job. I'm going to go with Sam Pittman.
No.
Who was it?
Kirby Smart, Georgia.
Does he have neck hair?
Apparently. I don't know. It's just funny to me.
Brittany was thinking Arkansas as well. Sam Pittman I don't know that he has neck hair or that he has it trimmed, but he looks like a hairy individual to me. Like the type of guy you would see in a gym at a locker room. And
Billy Napier is who looks hairy to me. I mean, he does. He just looks like he's hairy.
Okay. I was around a former Tennessee quarterback one time and doing a media event, and he just decided to pull his shirt down and he goes, "Look, to this random lady, I did some manscaping." It's like very surreal.
Was he a former Tennessee quarterback at the time?
Yes.
Okay, I know who it is.
You know the manscaping habits of former Tennessee quarterbacks?
No, I can just guess who would be that stupid.
Okay, have a fantastic day, everyone. Off the Hook Sports complete coverage of Tennessee when they meet with the media this afternoon. It is going to be extensive coverage that you can't get anywhere else without a subscription fee. How about that? OffTheHookSports.com. She's Amanda LaFrada. I'm Dave Hooker. Like, subscribe, and share. We greatly appreciate that. Have a blessed day, everyone. This has been a presentation